Asteroid belt. Janet Kuypers.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You're so cosmic.
It's
Maybe
Van Allen.
It's not actually an asteroid belt, it's the Kuiper belt.
It's a Kuyper belt.
So that's why she always says that.
It's just a bunch of...
So if I seem like as cold as I could be, it's because I just think the paper belt.
Whoa.
I don't know. Hi, I thought I would do something for science just because I have this book, although it doesn't relate to astronomy. I thought I would share a periodic table poem that is in this book with you, and it is called Astatine and a Fantastic Car Crash. And our life is one big road trip now, and we set the cruise control and make our way down the expressway. And most of the time we're just moving in a straight line and the scenery blurs, there's nothing to see. But I know what's inside of you, and I know what you're made of. There's no such thing as a calm with you. You are a fantastic car crash. You stop traffic in both directions. In your twisted way, you come from the decay of others. And what you leave behind in your wake, more radioactive destruction as all around you slows down to stare. And I'll just gape, and all the gapers gawk, and the decay grows. Everything shatters with you, you know. It was a spectacular explosion until your instability corrodes you down to the basics in this world. And yeah, what was left of you after you were gone is much more stable than who you were. But still, I duck and cover as metal flies to the air. Every time you leave the scene of the accident, I'm left picking up the shards of glass from the windows. You know, the glass breaks into such tiny little pieces. They look like ice. It takes so long to pick up the pieces, and even though I'm careful, I'm still picking up the pieces after dealing with only fractional amounts of you. I've only been able to infer from what you're like by knowing your brethren. And so I'm stuck here picking up the pieces, and I'm still on my knees, and the glass cuts into my hands because it's only after so much of your destruction that you left blood dripping down to the street. Think of this as your contribution, this radioactive short-term flash of decay. Think of this as your contribution to this fantastic car crash that is you, that is me, that is us. I've tried to learn, I've tried to study those microscopic parts of you that makes sense of you. But whenever I can ever leave enough, whenever you're able to leave enough, despite your destruction, despite the decay of you, all I've had to keep reminding myself is that when it comes to you, this is what you do. This happens all the time. So I pull the glass from my hands and I wave my hand to the line of traffic. Go ahead. Keep driving. This happens all the time. There's nothing to see here. This one I'm going to share with you because it talks about my car. Earlier, people heard that my Saturn, which is the only car I've owned all of my life, I'm going to trade it in on Earth Day to get an electric car. I get a Chevy Volt. And so I'm like, this is the last time. So we've been driving my Saturn everywhere, and I talk about it here. So I'm sharing this poem with you because it was written on the anniversary of the discovery of Saturn's moon, Titan, which is why I got my NASA shirt and my Uranus earrings or something. Anyway, no, I think it's Neptune. It's tilted on its side with the effort. I'll show you. This is called Know What Planet She's From. On this date, in 1655, Christian Huygens discovered a satellite around the planet Saturn. That is what we now know of as the moon Titan, discovered today by this one lone Dutchman. Also back then in 2015, A Dutch girl had discovered the intricacies of Taj Mahal in India with a friend and a tour guide. She circled around and walked ahead, and when the tour guide saw the Saturn car logo on her backpack purse, the tour guide then said, "At least we know what planet she's from." And when the Dutch girl thinks of this still, she laughs. And about this all to this day. I've always loved astronomy, so years ago when I bought my first car, I researched this, and I chose the Saturn. Then it was in its second year of production. I deduced the make, model, color, went to the dealership, made my choice, all without even going for a test drive. Because when you love astronomy as I do, you don't haggle. You know this giant will give you everything you need for as long as you want it. That's how the universe works. Everything will be in order, making perfect sense. So after I stopped on the road and my Saturn was hit by 2 cars and almost killed, respirators kept me alive. But my sister swore that if I was in another car, she was sure I'd be dead. Not unlike the way the gas giants like Saturn and Jupiter protected planets like Earth from rocks, comets, death. And I could go on and on about my love affair with Saturn, but the real key for astronauts today, when it comes to understanding the Earth's history, is actually in learning about Titan. Because this one moon, one of only 2 moons in the solar system larger than our moon, it is so much like our own Earth in its early history. Get a load of this. Saturn is the only other body in the solar system that we know of that has hydraulic cycles. Translation, it has evaporation, condensation, and the all-important precipitation. It rains on Titan, just like Earth. Scientifically, it doesn't matter if it rains nitrogen because water versus water. You're missing the point. It has weather patterns. The moon has weather patterns. Other moons do not. And you may laugh at me when I put emblems from my Saturn car in my purse as a fashion statement, but maybe my love affair was for far more than an American car. Maybe, just maybe, it was for more than that. Maybe it was for the love of the solar system, the gas giants that kept our planet alive. And maybe it was for their moon, not so much unlike us. It was all that, with creation in the solar system, how all the pieces seem to fit together perfectly. And we see our history in Titan, discovered today, so long ago, and that alone can make us fall in love again. I thought that was hysterical. This is called Just the Right Words. Another one that's not related to a holiday, because I keep looking for holidays. So, well, I did. That's just a holiday. It's called Just the Right Words. You might think that mathematicians and science geeks aren't creative. Sorry, it's jumped ahead. But those are the guys who theorize. I'm going to start this again, just so that it works. Sorry. You might think that mathematicians and science geeks aren't creative, but those are the guys who theorize all these crazy ideas. I mean, one of those science dorks had to come up with the Big Bang Theory with no evidence to back it up. Right now, they're talking that maybe there are multiple universes that can occasionally bounce into each other and cause things like the Big Bang. That's the kind of stuff out there now, straight from the minds of some of those mathematicians and science types. So I made a point to read the news today, an article that, in lieu of one-sentence summaries in research proposals, some scientists are submitting a haiku. They call it a saiku. I now hear that since I have written a poem for every element in the periodic table, that the journal Science recently published a collection of haiku about the periodic table. I thought I was the only computer science engineer who decided to go the way of the poet, but at least some of those scientists have caught on to what I knew all along, that sometimes a little creativity and just the right words can make science beautiful to everyone. Thank you.